Emma always knew her neighborhood was safe, until the night she noticed a black SUV parked outside her window for the third time this week. At first she tried to ignore it, but every time she peeked out, the same shadowy figure sat inside, never moving, never looking away. One evening, she stepped closer to the window and saw the man lift a camera, pointing it directly at her bedroom light. Emma whispered to her roommate that something wasn't right, but before they could look again, the SUV vanished into the dark. The next morning, she found muddy footprints under her window, perfectly shaped as if someone had stood there for hours watching her sleep. Emma reported it to the local police, but without evidence, they brushed it off as a misunderstanding or a harmless passerby. That night, while scrolling through her phone, Emma noticed a strange airdrop request labeled "I see you," even though no one nearby had Apple devices. She locked her doors, shut every curtain, and turned off the lights, trying to calm the rising tension twisting inside her chest. Suddenly, a loud metallic thud echoed from outside. Emma froze, realizing the sound came from the same side as her window. She grabbed her phone to record, but when she looked outside, the street was empty. Too empty, like it had been cleared on purpose. Unable to sleep, Emma installed a small motion sensor camera outside, hoping it would finally catch whatever was happening. Hours later, the alert chime woke her. Emma opened the live feed and saw a figure standing still, face hidden, watching her door. Her breathing tightened as the figure stepped closer, placing something small on the ground before slowly backing into the shadows. Emma waited until morning to check. When she opened the door, she found a single Polaroid picture of herself, taken from outside her room. Shaken, she rushed to the police again, showing them the photo. This time, the officer's expression stiffened with concern. They told her other missing person cases had started exactly like this. Unmarked cars, surveillance, and photos taken before the victims vanished. Emma's heart pounded as she realized she wasn't imagining anything. Someone had been studying her movements for weeks. She decided not to stay home that night. Emma booked a room at a friend's place, hoping distance would keep her safe. But as she packed, she noticed something chilling. Her closet door was slightly open, even though she always kept it shut. Emma stepped closer, trembling, and saw muddy footprints inside the closet, confirming the stalker had already been in her room. She dropped her bag and ran outside, desperate to get away, unaware that someone was watching from the house across the street. Emma rushed to her friend Lily's house, hoping distance would keep her safe, but on the way she noticed a black SUV following from far behind. She tried to convince herself it was coincidence, yet every turn she made, the SUV matched her route like it already knew her destination. Emma pulled into a crowded gas station, pretending to buy water, watching the SUV from the reflection of the freezer door's glass. The driver never stepped out, just waited, engine running, headlights fixed on her like he had all night to stare. Emma texted Lily that she might be in danger, but before she could finish typing, her phone suddenly shut off on its own. Panicking, she asked the cashier for help, but when they stepped outside, the SUV had disappeared, leaving the lot eerily silent. Emma continued toward Lily's home, tense and exhausted, but as she parked, she spotted a small camera taped under her rear bumper. Realizing she'd been tracked, Emma tore it off and hurried inside, locking the door while Lily called the police again. Officers arrived, examined the camera, and confirmed it wasn't a toy. This was professional surveillance equipment used in abduction cases. Emma felt sick as police warned her to avoid traveling alone and stay in a secure place until they could investigate further. That night, Emma and Lily tried to rest, but a repeating tapping sound at the window kept them awake, like someone testing the glass. Lily checked outside but saw nothing, though muddy footprints appeared beneath the window the moment they turned away. Emma's fear deepened when she noticed the same pattern of footprints she had seen outside her own home 2 nights earlier. A police cruiser was ordered to stay nearby, but around midnight, the officer reported seeing a dark figure standing across the street. When he approached, the figure slipped behind a tree and vanished, leaving no tracks, as if he knew every blind spot in the neighborhood. Emma sat on the couch, shivering under a blanket, wondering why she had been chosen, why someone had marked her days before going missing. In the dim glow of the living room lamp, Emma noticed a second Polaroid on the coffee table, this one showing her walking into Lily's house. Neither she nor Lily had placed it there, and the timestamp indicated it had been taken less than 10 minutes earlier. Emma realized the stalker wasn't just following her. He was getting inside places without being seen, leaving messages meant only for her. Her hands shook as she told Lily they had to leave immediately, fearing the stalker might already be inside watching them. But before they could move, the lights flickered and the house fell silent, plunging everything into darkness except the sound of slow footsteps upstairs. Emma and Lily froze as the footsteps moved slowly across the upstairs hallway, each creak revealing the intruder's careful, deliberate pace. Lily whispered that the police car was still outside, yet whoever was inside the house had entered without breaking a single lock. Emma signaled for her to stay silent, remembering the muddy footprints inside her own closet. The stalker never left obvious traces. A sudden thud echoed from the guest room, followed by the sound of drawers opening as if he was searching for something specific. Emma grabbed Lily's hand and moved toward the back door, trying to escape quietly before the intruder noticed they were downstairs. Just as they reached the exit, the doorknob rattled violently from the other side, forcing them to step back into the shadows. Emma covered her mouth as the door slowly opened, but instead of the stalker, the police officer stepped in, confused by their fear. They rushed to tell him someone was upstairs, but when officers searched every room, they found nothing. No footprints, no broken locks. Emma insisted she had heard someone walking, but the officers suggested stress might be intensifying her fear after the recent incidents. Feeling unheard, Emma replayed the motion camera footage from her house on her phone, hoping to spot anything she had missed before. In one frame, she noticed a masked figure standing by her bedroom door, barely visible, as if blending into the shadows intentionally. The realization hit her. This person wasn't breaking in, he was already inside before she even locked the doors each night. Emma showed the footage to the officers. Their faces changed instantly, recognizing tactics used in prior stalking abduction cases. They set up surveillance around Lily's home, advising Emma to stay somewhere public and well-lit until they could identify the suspect. Later that night, while reviewing more footage, Emma spotted something chilling, the same masked figure standing behind her in her hallway days earlier. She never noticed him then, and the camera caught only a glimpse, proof he moved silently and knew how to avoid detection. Emma's fear turned into determination. She agreed to work with investigators, hoping to build a timeline strong enough to stop him. As she prepared to leave Lily's house with police escort, Emma glanced at the window and froze. The masked figure stood across the street watching. Though officers rushed outside, the figure stepped into the darkness and vanished, leaving behind only wet footprints leading toward the woods. Emma felt the chilling truth settle in. The stalker was no longer testing her fear. He was preparing for the moment she would disappear. Emma ran through the darkened underground hallways, heart hammering, knowing each step could either lead to freedom or another trap. The metallic clang of a distant door echoed behind her, and she realized the stalker was following silently, calculating every move. She spotted a faint light ahead, the exit, but it was partially blocked by debris, forcing her to navigate carefully. Emma's breathing was ragged as she pushed aside fallen beams, knowing the shadows could hide him anywhere along the corridor. A sudden figure appeared in her peripheral vision, masked and still, and Emma ducked into a side tunnel, barely escaping detection. She found a security booth at the tunnel's edge, the emergency radio inside glowing faintly. Her last chance to call for help. The stalker advanced slowly, then paused, almost taunting her, giving Emma just enough time to dash toward the booth. Emma slammed the door behind her and grabbed the radio, her hands trembling, sending a frantic distress call to anyone listening. Sirens wailed in the distance, and the masked figure stepped back into the shadows, disappearing, leaving Emma alive but shaken to her core. As police arrived, Emma realized the nightmare wasn't over. The stalker had vanished, but his presence would haunt her forever. Emma survived the stalker's attack, but the case remains unsolved. Her last video holds the truth. Subscribe now to follow the investigation.